Welcome to the Do Good X podcast, a sanctuary from the entrepreneurial grind. Hosts Kimberly Danielle and Stephen Lewis, advocates for impactful entrepreneurship, guide you on the path where purpose meets business. Join us to slow down, reconnect, and explore the challenges of under-resourced entrepreneurs, uncovering the unique journey of building businesses that make a difference. Now, your host.
Welcome, everyone, to the Do Good X podcast. My name is Kimberly Danielle, and I am a community builder, a coach, and a communication strategist who comes from generations of faith-driven leaders and entrepreneurs who believe that our purpose should drive us to contribute to the common good. And as usual, I have the joy of being here with my co-host, Stephen.
Hey, Kimberly. As you know, I am a catalyst for positive change in communities and businesses. And for over 2 decades, I have inspired leaders and entrepreneurs to live and work on purpose with intention, faith, and a commitment to their well-being. Today, we're going to go back to an episode from last season with a Do Good X alum, Dr. Kit Evans Ford. Now, Kit is the founder of Argrows House of Healing and Hope, where women's healing from violence create bath products that provide a living wage for themselves and a safe space that celebrates who they are.
Kit is also the founder of Autistic and Loved, which is a social enterprise creating sensory-friendly products and resources for children with autism and sensory processing disorders. In this episode, Kit chats with Stephen about what it means to grow 2 mission-driven businesses simultaneously. The challenges, the lessons, the breakthroughs, all of that.
She also provides insight about the role of partnerships in scaling impact, how she has navigated fundraising, and why listening to yourself and your community is really at the center of meaningful change.
Her story is really a reminder that social entrepreneurship is about more than just building an organization. It's about providing products, services, and spaces where people can heal, where people can belong, and where people can thrive.
So we hope that you will come away with wisdom and encouragement for your journey. So let's take a listen. I'm delighted to have this exciting conversation with our guests today. Dr. Kit Evans Ford is a spiritual director, a social entrepreneur, and the founder of Argrows House of Healing and Hope in Davenport, Iowa, and Moline, Illinois. Now, Argrows is a safe space where free services are offered daily for women healing from violence in the Quad City regions. Argrows House is also a social enterprise where women healing from violence create beautiful bath products that provide a living wage for themselves and a safe space that celebrates who they are. Additionally, Dr. Kit is the founder of Autistic and Loved, LLC, and Autistic and Loved Foundation. And with a team of graphic illustrators and engineers, she created food-grade silicone pendants called jewelry for children with autism, spectrum disorder, and sensory processing disorder. Her pendants are the first invented that celebrate the beauty and diversity of autistic children. And the line now includes a variety of pendants, oral, motor, and sensory resources, and vending machines. Now, Autistic and Love has an open play sensory gym providing programming for kids with special needs. And Dr. Kit is the author of 101 Testimonies of Hope, Life Stories to Encourage Your Faith in God, and a children's book on Bishop Richard Allen, A Non-Violence Journey. Her distinguished awards include a Champions of Love, the Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis Award for Public Service benefiting local communities, and the Tom Locke Innovative Leaders Award. Dr. Kit also resides in Bedford, Iowa with her husband, the Reverend Dr. Pastor Dwight L. Ford, and children, Imani and Justice. Dr. Kit, it's good to see you.
And it's good to see you, Stephen. We are here, man. We are here.
All right, so let us jump in. So what advice would you give to founders who are trying to build businesses that deeply serve their communities?
I would say it's important to listen to your heart, what you want to do. But I would also say sometimes we can create things that aren't necessarily connected to the needs of the community. So you also have to listen to the needs of the community too. With Autistic and Love, we started as a chewable jewelry company, and I, had this bright idea to create these pendants that look like children, that one that looks like my son and my daughter, and that was a great idea. Really, what customers were wanting and what families were wanting was easy access to these products. What they were wanting was a safe place to be able to be, and a place to have fun, right? Where their kids could just be themselves. And so, out of me creating these chewable jewelry pendants, it eventually evolved into a sensory-friendly kids gym that we'll be launching in just a couple of days. And the community is very excited, about this effort. And so, I would say, listen to your idea, but I would also say listen to your customers. And part of that is connected to customer discovery, asking your people what they need and what they want. Otherwise, you're creating a business that won't have any customers. And you'll have a bunch of inventory on your shelf for years in your basement. So you really have to listen to the needs of the community and pivot where you need to.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Danielle.
And I'm Stephen Lewis, and we're the co-founders of Do Good X.
If you are building a purpose-driven business and generating $60,000 or more annually, this fall, we have created something just for you. It's an experience designed to help you scale with clarity and support.
And so from November 6th through 8th, we're gathering a small group of underestimated, impact-focused social entrepreneurs for an intimate weekend here in Atlanta.
This is the launch of Do Good X's mastermind community, starting with this in-person retreat. This is a chance to really decelerate from the hustle, reconnect with your inner wisdom, and align with mentors and tools to grow your business in ways that honor your values, but also your well-being.
And you'll walk away with renewed clarity, expert insights, real relationships, and an action plan to scale your impact without burning out.
And for those of you who are ready to go deeper, you'll be invited into our 6-month mastermind experience, a coaching and education journey rooted in purpose, faith, and community.
Spots are limited, and we invite you to dogoodx.org/mastermind community to learn more and apply today.
We can't wait to welcome you to Atlanta in November.
As I think about your 7 to 8 year journey, I remember from the very beginning when you started this, and I think about how Argrows has just, has shifted and grown and emerged into this wonderful social enterprise. And even, I think it was 2018, we were sitting together in Atlanta and you were showing me some of your first pendants, and now, and now, Autistic and Love is, you've created a foundation, you got this sensory gym. So talk to us a little bit about what strategies, what decisions have been key to scaling both Argrows House and Autistic and Love.
Yeah, I think for Autistic and Loved, there's been, as an autism mom, I understand the need because of my children, but really the parents and children have told us what they needed. We had a humble beginnings. We started with $0. Me and my husband put up the resources to be able to create those first pendants, to be able to have that first shop. But then I also did pitch competitions around the state to raise money. So I raised about $30,000 through pitch competitions. This was just a year and a half ago. So, it wasn't that long ago with Autistic and Love. And a donor outside of the Quad City saw the work that we were working to do with Autistic and Love, and they donated enough resources for us to start a foundation, purchase a commercial property, and create a handmade, a sensory gym, which isn't normal. that's not normal. That's definitely the grace of God. But I would say, for us, it's been just doing the best we can with what we have, even though we have very humble beginnings. And even though, doing this work can be difficult, especially, with Argrows House, we're working with women survivors, trying to figure out, we've made pivots as far as figuring out programming. There are other organizations that are doing similar work around the country, but I realized that every context is different. So you have to figure out who you're serving, why you're serving them, what resources we have, what capacity we have, so that we're not trying to be something that we're not. And so it's taken some time it's taken some years to get to the point where we know we have housing that's focused on helping women heal, holistic care. Now in our program, women live for 1 year to 2 years rent free, and then we'll assist them in a first time home buyers program, right? That's what we do. We have a bath and body business. Now we have a cafe. That's what we do, and so, we it's taken some time to get there, but I think with time, with listening to the community, with learning hard lessons, you get that clarity around programming. And I think for Autistic and Love, families have just kind of, because there's such a need, families have just really kind of screamed what they've needed. And so we've listened to them, and it's just by the grace of God that we have the resources to create what families need.
So, Kit, I'd like to ask you this question. What advice would you give to early stage entrepreneurs about finding and securing the resources needed to start a mission-driven business?
Absolutely. Yeah, I would say understand that a mission-driven business, if you have your 501c3 status, there are 3 different streams of income there, not just your business, though the business part is important. But if you have an LLC, you're only able to keep the profit that comes from the business after you pay your taxes, all these other things. But if you also have a 501c3, you have 3 different streams of income coming in: the profit from your business, the grant resources, and then also the private donations, which really, for the work that we do, it helps to keep the engine going, which is really, I think, really, really important. And so, that piece, I would say, you have to share what you're doing. If you have an idea and you want people to support you, you can't just, even though, posting on Facebook or Instagram once is helpful, it takes a lot more time and energy to be able to grow what you're doing. I think with Argrows House, every weekend we were out in the community. We were sharing. We had tables. Even when we didn't know how to make soap, we were literally, sharing our bath bombs. We were getting sign-up sheets for our newsletter, other things. And so we're always out sharing what we're doing and working to network. Every conference opportunity we have, we're there. And then for Argrows House and Autistic and Love, to get that kind of seed money, Do Good X has the opportunity where you can pitch, for resources. Now it seems like everybody's getting on board. Maybe it's Do Good X, maybe it's Shark Tank. I'm not sure what's influencing people, but locally, regionally, statewide, nationally, there are pitch competitions where you can win $2,000, $10,000, $20,000, $50,000. And that money literally helps to start and keep things going in the beginning. And I did the same for both organizations, and it really helped us to get things up and running.
Let me ask you this. As a social entrepreneur, what specific resources were a game changer for your venture and might be helpful to other founders who are trying to do good?
Yeah. So for me, Do Good X was huge, still is huge, because Do Good X, even after you go through the cohort, there's still resources, monthly conversations, also a network of people that once you kind of get in this network of Do Good X with Christians or social entrepreneurs, you kind of start seeing some of the same people throughout that are like-minded, and it's a ripple effect. you know someone who knows someone who knows someone. So every time I may need a resource, I reach out to the Do Good X team, and then we kind of connect and resource within each other, which is really helpful. I would say also working our network and being able to move forward in those different ways. And so, super, super important. Use your people, grow your people by getting out there and sharing what you're doing. And it can really help to move mountains as you continue to grow.
Not all funding aligns with mission-driven visions. So what strategies do you use to identify and secure the right resources that truly support your goals and values?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the thing is, as a nonprofit, oftentimes if you are applying for grants, sometimes those grants may be restricted. Sometimes those grants a lot of times people will shift their mission and to cater it to the grants. We are grateful we haven't, we don't do that, and we never have. But I would say be mindful of who you are. Even with starting a cafe next door, even the drinks that we were going to bring into the cafe, we had to think about it. Like, do we want to bring in this monster drink? Are we, not knocking anyone who does energy drinks, but, I think that everything that you do, you start to be a bit more mindful of it, especially if you're trying to do things with intention and, holistic care within your organization. But I would also say, there's this whole movement of trust-based philanthropy, which is really beautiful. It means that, they're family trusts, they're private donors, they're people who just really have resources and they want to do good with their money. And so your organization is gifted these resources with no strings attached. And oftentimes that is true. Sometimes that may not be true. So I would just say, even with your donors, build those relationships, making sure that you're in open communication, you understand what expectations are as it relates to funding sources, so that you won't have any regrets as you move forward.
What's the best advice that you've received on your entrepreneurial journey?
I think there may be and I'm not sure if there's a difference, but I don't know if there's a difference between entrepreneur and social entrepreneur. With being a social entrepreneur, it's a different type of, it's tough. It can be tough because it's not just the reality of making the business keep going, but it's also a matter of serving a marginalized population and making sure you're serving the best way that you can. And sometimes in the midst of serving, you can be very vulnerable. There can be boundary realities, and you can also have a broken heart, at times from the service that we do over the years. So I would say, trying to think of the biggest, as far as business, I would say the biggest lesson is listen to your customers. I would say on the other side, as it relates to the social enterprise piece, is take care of yourself. Simple, but take care of yourself too, because who you are, your soul, your mind, your body, your spirit, it also matters in the midst of the hustle and bustle.
Thank you for this wonderful story and sharing a little bit of part of your own journey with those who are listening with us today.
Thank you for listening to the Do Good X podcast. To continue the conversation or access our resources, visit www.dogoodx.org. Join us again for conversations that will nourish your soul, ignite your dreams, and empower you to build an impactful business, one intentional step at a time. Until then, keep striving, thriving, and doing good.